to my YouTube. Please hit the subscribe button. And if you're not following me on Instagram, please go to Instagram at Coach Marina Hardyman for all your women's health, fat loss, nutrition, mindset with food tips and tricks, and follow along the journey for more. So today is basically the day that I'm going to drop some helpful tips, thoughts, and I just think because YouTube is that longer form content, it's a nice place to kind of express my thoughts but freely and not have to get it like scripted to fit in a 60-second Instagram reel. So basically this is where you will find lots of tips, thoughts, opinions, and basically the unfiltered Marina, because I just don't give a shit. And I feel like that needs to come across a lot more, because the only way for you to truly get to know me out with a script, because my brain just cannot function, is the best way is going to be here on YouTube. So basically today we have had a situation, and this particular situation has led me to really wanting to express my opinion. Now, this is going to be shared with love and care for anyone listening to this. This is not me judging. This is not me pointing the finger saying you need to do better, you need to do this. It is simply just to kind of plant a seed for you to kind of zoom out and look at the bigger picture. And that bigger picture is 100% you. You have to start putting you first, not the rest of the world. And what I mean by that is basically my partner woke up this morning, well, actually came home from work yesterday evening with tonsillitis. Couldn't speak, really infected. He's not registered with a doctor because he's a stubborn man. And went to bed last night, slept in the spare room because I'm really prone to tonsillitis. So I was like, I'm sorry, but get away. I'm flying home to Ireland this weekend. Like, don't you dare infect me. But he literally just fell into bed like super early, got in from work, literally didn't even eat and just fell into bed. But got up this morning and went to work. Like, literally my brain can't comprehend that. So then in the same breath, I had a client message me who basically said she woke up with a really sore throat and couldn't eat breakfast. I was like, okay, shame. So you're not going to work? She's like, oh, no, I am going to work. And I was like, okay. She's like, there's lots of people off. And I was like, okay. And with her, I was able to have this conversation. She knows me at this stage. She understands that this is all coming from like a place of love and care, and that it's my job to point out when she's not putting herself first. So basically I just texted her back and I was like, okay, can I say something but without offending? And she was like, yeah, go for it. And I said to her, other people being off sick is not a you issue. She's like, yeah, but I've got loads of work to do and it's just easier to get it done. Humans do this so often. And I did a post this week where I was like, if you were to die today, you are replaced in your work today. Like, the tasks that you have to get done, or like specifically teachers, because I come from a teacher background, like if you're not in your classroom today because you're dead, the kids will have a teacher. It's not you. It'll be another teacher. It might be a colleague. It might be a substitute teacher. It might be a member of management. It might be a teaching assistant. Either way, you're replaced instantly. Like, in the space of seconds, you're replaced. And I think a lot of people don't recognize this, that when like they're pushing through and she's like, no, I feel well enough to go to work. And I pushed back and I said to her, if you're not well enough to have breakfast to fuel your body, I would counteract that and say you're not well enough to go to work. And I think this is something as a society we really need to change. Like, can this be something that I sign petitions for? Because this hustle culture that we have in the UK and Ireland is just not productive. And I think when people think that they're pushing through, that they're like this some sort of martyr. Like, I know my partner goes to work because of his personal situation, and he's really like blessed and feels really blessed to have a job and doesn't want to let anybody down. But that's to the detriment of his own health. And I mean, I like hands up, like I'll hold my hands up. Like, I used to do this as a teacher, not all the time. Like, I did get to a point in my teaching career that I was like, actually, no, like I'm not coming in today. And like, initially it is really frustrating because you do kind of have that guilty feeling Sorry, I keep moving my camera. But you keep having that guilty feeling that you're letting other people down. That comes from society. And I've said this like literally since the day I started teaching. Teachers are the worst in the world for giving out about their job, right? But the reason they are in the situation that they're in is because teachers just say yes to everything. They say yes to working when they're sick. They say yes to all the deadlines, even though they don't have time or they're already burnt out and exhausted. And by doing this, you're setting the precedence that this is just the norm. Like, it's just normal just to go in burnt out and push through like being really sick and not prioritizing your health. And like for me, like, well, say for my client, for example, she's in the west of Ireland, and I said to her, you're literally expecting your body to drive to Dublin without putting petrol in it. And she was laughing. She was like, yeah, but I have to do it. Like, this is just who I am. Like, this is what I want to do. And I was like, okay. And for her, she's recently on my program. So for her, this is all she knows. This is all that she has done in the past. And I suppose when you've come from from years and decades of never putting yourself first and never prioritizing your health, to then putting yourself first and prioritizing your health, I laughed at her back and I was like, oh, so then maybe this is something I can work on and maybe change in the future. But I think if this video is to educate somebody to just say no, just say no. The work is always going to be there. Just because you have a list the length of your arm to get through now when you're sick, that doesn't mean that list is getting longer. Like, there's always going to be a list. There's always going to be a list. That list is never getting shorter. Like, I know as a teacher, that list never got shorter. It always just got longer. The deadlines came quicker. Like, it never changed. Me taking a day or two off sick, yeah, it's annoying because somebody else just completely came in and destroyed my classroom. But when you put it in the bigger picture and zoom out, and it's that my health is benefiting from this, then you best believe I'm taking that day. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I'm ringing in sick. And it's not that you're ringing in sick. And I think when people say ringing in sick, it's almost like people say that when they're skiving or they don't give a shit or they're just calling in sick because they just can't be arsed going to work. And I feel like that phrase ringing in sick has now kind of got a negative connotation to it because it's linked with that motion and that action instead of I'm ringing in sick because I'm prioritizing my health right now over my job. And I just think as humans that needs to be, I was going to say should, I hate the word should because it comes with elements of shame, but it needs to be our priority. Like, our health needs to be our priority. Like, if I'm on my deathbed, you best believe my boss ain't ringing me to be like, it's all right, Marina, we've got your class covered. We've got X, Y, and Z done. Like, we really hope you're doing well. Like, they're just so concerned about the job. They don't give a shit about you. And I've had that in every single job I've had. Like, the minute you ring in sick, you're covered, right? And if you're not covered, then management need to deal with what needs to kind of trickle through. And like, if it's a deadline that you miss, like I've had one teacher recently who was really unwell, missed a deadline. And she was like, somebody else is just going to have to do it because she was so unwell, but she was actually nearly going to go in. And I said to her, I was like, can somebody else take that over? Like, why do you have to go in? I was like, can you even go in and bring it home? Like, she was that unwell. And it ended up being that she was so sick that she actually ended up having to ask somebody else to do it. So I think if you're pushed to the point that you have to, let's try and not get to that point. I feel like as a society, let's try to normalize when we are sick that we prioritize our health. And I think once people start prioritizing their health as a society as a whole, then something like bringing Tupperware to events or, you know, looking at your weight or prioritizing water, like, or not wanting to drink alcohol or taking creatine or eating eggs and all these things that people demonize, that then becomes a norm. But right now it's just like hustle, like keep going till you die. That's not a life I'm planning to live. So if this message and this video hits home on basically you putting your health first, like please put you first, put your health first, because nobody else is going to do that for you.